Christian, you may want to introduce Craig to give the objectives.
My apologies. Craig, would you be able to give Keith's objectives for his speech?
I sure would. And by the way, you did very well, Christian, as an introduction to an international speech speaker. There is no introduction for that. But for Keith, he's a special guest today. We will give him an introduction so the rest of you know what we're doing. Keith is practicing his international speech contest speech and looking for feedback on how to improve his content, humor, and delivery. Any constructive feedback would be greatly appreciated. And so I urge each of you right now to open up your chat box with Keith. And as he goes through his speech, you might jot some things down that you thought were really good, something that might improve his content, humor, or delivery. Back to you, Christian.
Okay. Once again, we have Keith Bailey performing his speech titled Out of the Box. Out of the Box, Keith Bailey.
Thank you, Captain Toastmasters. Ladies and gentlemen, fellow Toastmasters, welcome aboard this Toastmasters international flight headed toward unlocking and unboxing your childhood dreams, which right now are stuffed into the overhead bin, out of sight and out of mind. I encourage you to take that seatbelt tightened across your lap because life is a bumpy ride and you never know when turbulence is going to hit. In fact, it strikes usually at the most unexpected times. For me, that was 4 months ago. I'm standing next to my 11-year-old nephew at City Park in Denver, Colorado at a social distancing party. His eyes are actually, our eyes are fixed upon this little object that is just herky and jerky moving around. And Brooklyn is holding the controllers and moving them haphazardly. And while he's watching a little foam plane flying around the park, all I see is my childhood dream that I long ago stuffed into that overhead bin and forgot about. When I was 11, I bought a swizzle stick ARF, and that stands for almost ready to fly, meaning that the plane was ready to fly. I just wasn't. I was afraid to fail. I had sunk all of my savings of $500 into this plane. And if I crashed it, there's no way I could fix it. So I just didn't fly. It was more like an ostrich. I would put gas in the engine. I would let it run, but I never gave it wings of an albatross that just let it fly. I was also afraid to ask people for help. So instead, I got rid of it. I sold it. And I tightened that seatbelt and I put that childhood dream into that overhead bin and I forgot about it. Until this very moment, standing there with Brooklyn. Where did you get that thing? Amazon. How much did you pay for it? $80. Can I fly it? And Brooklyn looks down at his plane. He looks up at me and he's like, I just bought it. Brooklyn, $80, man. I can afford $80, all right? I'm good for it. Can I fly it? Okay. So I crashed it twice. But it didn't break because technology has moved on and the plane is made of foam, which is very, very resilient, more so than balsa wood. And that night I went home and I went online and I bought myself my own little foam plane. And what I want to share with you today are the three flight checks, the three safety checks that you want to make sure that you do before you take your childhood dream out of the box. The first day I got my plane, I went back to City Park, same location. I took it out and I put it together, put the battery in, and I started it up and I launched it into the air and it flew away. And then I jerked with the controls and somehow I got it to turn around and come back to me. And I was so excited. The plane is flying back to me that I forgot to respond and course correct. And the plane flew over my head and into the tree that was directly behind me. In fact, that day I flew that plane into 4 trees, 3 of them which I had to climb. Which brings up the first pre-flight safety check. One, have the confidence to fail. When that plane flew in there, I just laughed out loud because it was just humorous to me, because what I had feared the most happened immediately. So for a pilot, the thing that we look for, that I've learned, is you look for the sofa, a soft, open, flat area, a place that's safe, that's open, that you can actually fly this thing. For all of us as Toastmasters, we're familiar with this, right? This place right here is our sofa. It's a soft, open, flat area. We can't fail here. We can't fall down. Somebody comes along and just picks us back up. Which brings up the second one. The ask principle. Always seek knowledge. That's why I'm here today, ladies and gentlemen. I'm seeking your knowledge. As we've gotten older, we understand that there's a misconception, right, of asking for help and support and to guidance. And that misconception is that it's a sign of weakness and that, ooh, we are a burden on other people. I don't know about you, but when somebody asks me something that I'm passionate about, I want to share it all. In fact, the times that I've gone out to the flight field, the old men that are there, and it's all men for some odd reason with flying RC planes, they all just want to tell me everything, and they just want to share all of their knowledge, and they're so excited to see me out there. Which brings up the third thing I've learned, and this is really, really important for unboxing that childhood dream of yours. In flying, you want to stay 3 mistakes above the ground. And what that means is you want to have a buffer. You want to have a safety net, because it's easy to make 1, 2 mistakes, and it's usually a little bit more difficult to make that third mistake. And I think the place that this applies most is the top 5 childhood dreams are to be a teacher, a doctor, a movie star, a business owner, and a veterinarian, probably because you love children. And we pursue different dreams and we go down different avenues. So this 3 mistakes above the ground is, well, whatever path you're on, don't just stop going down that path to start pursuing your vision of becoming the next Brad Pitt. It's likely not going to happen. But that doesn't mean you can't dabble and you can't unbox that childhood dream and start doing some acting and start getting the moves in and start doing the practicing. So stay on the path that you're on while dabbling and experimenting along with whatever that childhood dream is, which for me is something that gets me out of bed at 6 a.m. I think one of the things that changes over your life is when you're younger, it's fascination that drives you. And then fascination wanes and we look for inspiration. And right now, I don't know what's getting me out of bed at 6 o'clock, 4 days a week, to be over at Cherry Creek Reservoir, flying a plane at sunrise. But it has rejuvenated me. And it brings me such great joy that I want to come here today and share this with you. Well, now that you understand the 3 safety checks, you have permission to unbuckle yourself. Open that overhead bin. Look through your childhood dreams. Take 1, take 2. Take them out of the box. And change your elevation. Thank you.